Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. It's Paulie, Esther here, and today I'm going to hit you with a cornucopia of different news topics. First, we're going to start off with the fall sale here. So Dead by Daylight tweeted out, fall into sales, save up to 50% on select characters and outfits until September the 29th. And Super Pablo G put together this great little tweet encapsulating the discounts on all of the cosmetics at a glance so I can show them to you very easily. Super Pablo, thank you so much for putting this together. So we have these two Crypt TV skins are 20% off. That's the Luxie and the Mordeo. And then we have this Claudette and Nia outfit are 25% off. Bung Min and Zarina are 30% off. Then we have this whole group here is 35% off. Just in time for Oktoberfest. We can go Oktoberfesting with Meg, Kate Denson, and Felix here. Or we have this elk outfit for the Huntress. I forget what this one's called for the Wraith. And then this Jake outfit here. Those are all 35% off. And then finally, the deepest discount outfits here are Adam and Jeff. I swear, like, this Jeff one has been on sale so many different times. The Birch rounds out the Crypt TV skins that are on sale. 50% off is a pretty good deal on this one. And I call this one the Hush version of Legion. And I actually thought that I would need this one, but I just went and checked, and I don't. I have all of this stuff, but y'all are able to get it at discounted prices here until the 29th. So next, I want to let you know that there is a new player satisfaction survey here. I'll have the link in the description, or you can just copy what you see here, DBD game / all that. If you want to give some feedback about your level of player satisfaction and chime in the things that you like, don't like in the game right now, we encourage you to be as honest as possible in letting us know how you feel about the game. It's always weird to me. They do two versions of this survey. They have one that has a link in game and then one that they put out on social media. I don't know why they're different. Sometimes they have different questions from one to the other. I'm sure there's a reason why, but it's very mysterious to me. I can actually take the survey twice if I use the link in game for one and the link on social media for the other. Very strange. Anyway, the satisfaction survey is here if you want to take some time to let Dead by Daylight know. And then obviously we had the video yesterday that came out about the Finishing Mori and the built-in Unbreakable. Some people brought up some good points about that, so I want to touch on some of that stuff here. So the automatic Mori thing, where the last survivor down just automatically gets moried in a predetermined place on the map called the Finisher Mori. People had talked about what would happen with Tombstone. So Tombstone is remaining the same. For Michael Myers, he can still take you out of the game as of right now. There's been no changes to that. So a lot of the licensed killers can do this. The Sadako's Onryo, the Inexorable Stare is going to stay in the game. Pyramid Head's Final Judgment and Amanda's Reverse Bear Traps can take people out of the game without hooking them, right? So those are all going to remain in the game of ways that you can take people out with their own version of a kill. None of that's changing. One person brought up a very good point, which I brought to the devs, and hopefully we will see some movement on this. They said, look at how much these offerings cost. So they're changing the Mori offerings here, the Cypress, Ivory, and the Ebony, and they're all blood point rewards now. Well, if you look at how much the reward is compared to the cost of the offering, a survivor pudding or, you know, a bloody party streamer is always going to get you better value than what's being offered here, right? So for the cost of the offering, the upside is quite small. So for the Ebony, for example, we're spending what's the new price now? 5,000 for this, and we can get 20,000 blood points as a reward if we kill all 4 survivors and it ends in a Mori, right? So I think these are low. I think given the value, you're always going to get more out of a survivor pudding. Will cost you less, and it's guaranteed to give you points, right? probably 20,000 or more. Generally, I would say 20,000 is a pretty easy score to get as killer. So that's guaranteed whether you kill anyone. So I think these are low. I think you could even maybe bump this Memento Mori up to 50,000 because I have to pay for this offering. I have to play it. And then to get the reward, I have to kill all 4 survivors. And if I don't, I get nothing. Like Willy Wonka comes in and goes, you get nothing. Good day, sir. That's it. You know, if you don't get it, you don't get the reward. So I'm spending blood points to get these offerings, and I'll perhaps come up empty. I could lose on this. I could go negative on the blood points on this if I don't hit the qualifiers. So I think you could easily like make this, the Cypress could be maybe 20K, and then Ivory could be 30K, and Ebony could be 50K. I think they could be higher given the cost of the offering. That's my personal opinion. I completely agree with the person who pointed this out in the YouTube comments, and I thank you for that. So the other big bone of contention is this upcoming proposal to give built-in Unbreakable as base kit, where every survivor can just pick themselves up, and how much more difficult this is going to be for killers now. It's going to be back to that game where you have perhaps swirling survive with friends teams bullying you, and that pressure could be possibly returning given this change here. I do like the change because it's no fun to bleed out. We're going to have to wait and see how this plays out. I'm going to try and break it, abuse it, show the extreme conditions that could come about when the PTB comes out next week, and try this. We'll try and push it to the limits where we'll bring Unbreakable to reduce this 45-second pickup time in half, maybe even Boon Exponential to lower that even more. But there's a lot of good points in this. I read through this thread, a lot of points in this about things that could happen. We're going to have to be very aware of hook management as a killer, because you could inadvertently create dead zones where survivors can run to, and you just simply can't get them to a hook from that corner where they run. So the devs need to be prepared for this stuff. Like, I'm all for mixing it up. I think that this could make it fun. You'll see more variety of builds and offerings because of this, but it can't get to the point where it's overwhelming for the killer and they feel helpless and hopeless again because of these mechanics. Because if somebody can run to the corner and you can't get them up, can't get them to a hook from that point, and they can just pick themselves up, what do? It becomes a conundrum. So I think you are going to see a lot more people pushing the limits of this. Sabo is back on the table. There's people who are going to be bringing the tenacity, Unbreakable power struggle, breakout combos, boil over. All of those things are back on the table. There's going to be some situations where survivors go up into those high spots again, where you have to get them down to a hook. So hook placement is going to be, hook RNG is going to become very important. You're going to see people who are playing hook offerings again to increase or decrease the distance between hooks, things like that. So, because now if somebody drops a hook with Sabo and you drop them, before you could be like, well, I'll just come back and wait for the hook to respawn. Maybe you're not going to have that window of opportunity to do it anymore, because Mr. Gims put out a tweet here with this graphic. So the Boon Exponential and Unbreakable can reduce your self pickup time to 18 seconds. So the hook isn't going to respawn in that amount of time, right? So that could be an issue, and there'll be a lot of problems around loops where survivors make sure they go down in pallets, and then the killers are afraid to pick up because they're afraid somebody's going to slam them with the pallet, but then they also have the pressure that they need to pick them up before they pick themselves up. So it could become a pressure cooker for killers, and we need to be aware of that. So we need to make sure that this is a great mechanic to have the ability to pick yourself up. However, it can't get to the point where it's easily abused. So we need to keep this in mind. That's what the testing is for. That's why that what we are going to test isn't going to go live right away 3 weeks later, because they want to wait and see how we can break the game and what adjustments need to be made. But people are saying that slugging is just completely dead. I wouldn't mind to see knockout get a buff here, because it slows your recovery rate by 25% for 15 seconds, I believe. So that only increases your self pickup time to 50 seconds. So on the whole, I think, yes, slugging is a dead strategy, but maybe it doesn't necessarily need to be. I don't know. We'll have to see. But some of these numbers, I even heard that this is lower than this. I heard that this is 15 seconds with Unbreakable and Boon Exponential together. So we'll see what happens. But so there's a lot of great points in here, and this slugging is now a dead strat thread on the forums. I enjoyed reading it, what everybody had to say. There are definitely some concerns here, and see, it confirms that yes, that if you run Unbreakable with the built-in self pickup timer, it will cut that in half to 22.5 seconds. Oh, and another thing that people said is, well, I guess twins are dead. So when you have to down somebody with Victor across map, and then you have to get there in time with Charlotte to go and pick them up before they can pick themselves up, that's pretty tough on the twins. There are rumors that the twins are going to be on the horizon for quality of life adjustments. So hopefully that's been taken into consideration. The twins have been nerfed again thanks to this. I know the devs hate them, but this is too far. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement. But yeah, there are definitely some concerns with the twins about, I down somebody with Victor, and then I have to go across map with Charlotte to find them and pick them up before somebody else does. And then this brings up a good point. What are the purposes of Knockout and Deerstalker now? Knockout, as we said, is only going to add an extra 5 seconds to that recovery. Deerstalker, okay, do you really need to have the perk with the ability to find people on the ground when they're just going to be picking themselves up all the time? So where's the value there? Let's see. Yeah, and this talks about stacking Unbreakable and Exponential. It would be pretty quick, but going down near Exponential is easier said than done, and the time you spend crawling to it is time you're not recovering. I mean, if you got tenacity, you can just crawl to it, right? Bearing in mind that the killer hears the boon when within range, they could easily kick it before they walk away, or judge whether or not it's worth the risk of leaving you slugged. It ends up being pretty situational, whether or not you think it's worth 2 perk slots and maybe a third for tenacity, just in case the killer slugs you. I'll let you decide. So like I said, there can be those situations where you make sure you go down in a pallet and the killer is afraid to pick you up. So I don't know, we'll see. Maybe it won't have as big an impact as people are thinking, but there are definitely going to be those bully squads out there who are going to try and make this get max value. Also, people pointed out, well, I guess I don't have to go across map to pick people up now because I know they can pick themselves up. So I can just stay on my generator and get my generator done faster. That's a good point too. This confirms here how Myers' tombstone has not changed. So it's going to be interesting, and I appreciate the lack of rush to put this in the game, that the devs are like, we need to wait and see. We're going to let you test it, but we're not going to put it in right away because we want to evaluate. So I do appreciate having this ability to not get 4K bled out and slugged, you know, anymore. That's all going to change, but we have to make sure that it's balanced and that it isn't too oppressive for the killers, for sure. So this was a good read. I'll link it in the description if you want to go through it all yourself and see all of the community's different viewpoints on this. But yeah, I thought it was a good read. I enjoyed it. I like seeing what the community has to say about these changes. And as I said, at the same time, I appreciate the devs trying to make changes that make the game more fun and mix it up. And this is one of those, but I think we do have to have a level of caution here that it doesn't return to that state where killers were feeling like they didn't have that power role and that it wasn't fun to play killer because they felt like they were overmatched by bully squad. So it's got to be a balance, which that's what the testing is all about. Anyway, that's all of the little bits of news I have there for you today. Wow, I wanted to keep this short, but I don't know that I accomplished that. Anyway, I appreciate the time that you spend here with me and my channel. Have a great weekend, everybody. Don't forget to take care of each other in and out of the fog, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
It's a Gen Rush life for us. It's a Gen Rush life for us. Set a hiding, we do gens. Set a randoms, we got friends. It's a Gen Rush life.